15 Minutes with Lado, Lawyers Against Domestic Violence. I am your host, Obande Steffi Iri. And if you're just watching us for the first time, please subscribe to our channel, like, and also comment in the comment section. Also click on the notification bell to give you newest updates and alerts on our videos that is going to be posted on our channel. Today I have a very special guest with me. He's also an advocate for Lawyers Against Domestic Violence. I will let him introduce himself before we go into the business of the day. So, my guest.
Yeah, so I'm Ikuku Imaobuji, and I'm an advocate of Lawyers Against Domestic Violence. Thank you.
We're happy to have you here today. Okay, so he's going to be taking us through today's topic, which is the red flags, warning signs on domestic violence. But just in all, last week we had two, guest speakers of ours who are also advocates of LADO, who took us through the causes of domestic violence. I would just like my guest to go through what he feels are the causes of domestic violence from his own perspective.
Yeah, so domestic violence generally are caused by various things, various factors. But we must understand also there's a social factor to it also that causes domestic violence a lot, an environmental factor, and also the media. Most important, these days is an internet age. People get to watch a lot of things, hear a lot of things, and that's a very big way of influencing the mind and also what you do. So I feel like most of these things that we watch every day, people maltreating each other online, movies, music, a lot of music, especially hip-hop music, degrading the woman and all of that, they cause people to have a certain kind of ill feeling, and in turn, of course, they bring it to the home, and so it causes domestic violence in one way or the other. So just these things, also the media are most importantly, is a very big cause of domestic violence these days.
Okay, that's very educative and enlightening. Now, to go into the business of today, the red flags or warning signs on domestic violence. What are those things you actually see in a relationship or in a marriage or in a cohabitation or whatever that you feel that these things are things that can actually propel, acts of abuse in a relationship? I would like my guests to run us through those warning signs.
Okay, so domestic violence, abuse in the home, there are various ways it can be done. We have digital abuse, we have financial or economic abuse, we have reproductive abuse, we have sexual abuse, we have physical abuse. All these various types of abuses, they are activities that either of the partners may carry out that may pose a kind of threat to the other. And when you see these things, you have to take note, you have to take caution of those things. And just quickly, we are not relationship experts or love doctors.
Exactly.
You understand? But for the sake of our conversation, we'll be leaning towards stuff like that for you to understand if your relationship is toxic or not. So looking at digital abuse, when you talk about digital, what comes to your mind? Internet, anything concerning the social space online, that has to do with the phones, and stuff like that. So these days we have social media like Facebook, Instagram, and all of that. Domestic violence can be perpetrated when either of the partners is always policing the other person, dictating what the other person posts, the videos the person likes. You must always tag me in the video,
More of stalking them.
Exactly. Give me the password to your Facebook, to your this, your that, just following the person, making the person uncomfortable and all of that. So digitally, you can pose a threat to your partner. So anytime you see anybody doing this kind of things, you already know, or if yourself you are feeling it, you can know that, yes, man, your relationship is going the wrong direction. So we also have financial and economic abuse. Now, this one is most interesting because it has to do with money, ego, you understand? So it's very important because people feel like they are independent and should be responsible for their own money and what they earn, what they bring to the house, what they bring to the table, So you get to see that everybody's eyes is tearing because this person is making more than me, this person is doing all of that. They begin to feel insecure some type of way. Then the husband now, maybe for example, the wife earns more than him. He now wants to boss the woman and get her money, keep it, dictate to her what she buys, what she spends, and all of that. And there's one very important thing also. Somebody being accountable to you as your spouse or maybe as a man, there's a very big difference from when you are trying to be a boss on that person.
Exactly.
Accountability is very, very different. Trust me, before you get married, you're in your relationship or anything, you should understand your partner. You don't just get entangled with somebody just because you like the person. There are certain values that the person has that you are drawn to, and accountability is one of them. So if you trust your wife, you get married to her, there's no need for you to start doing all that bugging and stressing. You go to market and buy something, let me see the list, where are all the receipts for all the things you bought. All those kind of things, they don't help at all. So I feel like economically too, when your partner begins to do some of these things, it doesn't go down well at all. Physical abuse also. Physical abuse has to do with anything that has to affect the person's body, maybe either emotional or physical, something like that. So sometimes you see some partners go out somewhere, the man just disappears and leaves the woman, and maybe it's a new place they've gone to. Somebody will be driving, you'll be speeding, not considering the person sitting next to you, be doing James Bond on the steering. It's not just your life, you have somebody there with you, so you don't have to abuse the person like that. Pulling off the person's hair, slapping, I don't mean any little thing the person does, it's not proper. Those things constitute physical abuse, and we must understand that these things are not right. They should not be in a relationship. Respect is very important. Respect the person for who the person is. And not just because you're married to the person, you feel you have some kind of entitlement to do to the person anything you want to do. Harming your children also is part of it. It's part of domestic abuse, and it shouldn't be so. Sexual abuse, reproductive, they go hand in hand. Some partners, the wife wants to use birth control pills, the husband doesn't want her to do it. The husband wants her to use birth control pills, the wife doesn't want to do it. Understanding is important. Family planning is important. What are you doing in your family? What's the plan for getting children? It doesn't just have to be one person's own desire all the time. You can be in public, you'll be making some kind of sexual moves to your partner and he or she is not comfortable about it, but you just keep on doing it. Those two constitute of sexual, harassment, and abuse. So you see, most of these things, when you begin to see them in your relationship, you have to know something is going wrong somewhere. And generally, relationships, when you start, everything looks sweet, very nice.
Exactly.
The person is behaving like he fell down from heaven today. So generally, you need to understand your partner, and most importantly, build trust in your relationship, so that most of the things that we see in homes these days will not be in your relationship. And if you are in any kind of toxic relationship or something, any kind of stuff like this, make sure you look for somebody to talk to.
Exactly.
Don't be ashamed. I know the society these days kind of want to stereotype people or look down on people because of certain things they face, but don't be ashamed. The earlier you stand up and fight for yourself and look for help, the better for you, the better for your relationship, and the longer your life and all of that. So
okay, that was really a nice one from our guest, an advocate of lawyers against domestic violence. I hope everyone today who has watched this video can be able to relay this message to our loved ones, and also be keen to take notice of certain things that are happening in your relationship and otherwise. Now, just to round up today, I just want you to follow us on our different social media platforms at Instagram, LinkedIn, Facebook, at Official Lado. Thank you so much for being with us today. I remain your host, Obande Steffi, and
Maranatha.
same time next week. Bye.